What's up guys, Andrew here with another video to help you guys quit smoking weed. If you're trying to quit it because you know it's doing you no good but you just can't quit it, you're hooked for some strange reason. It's just not easy, it's quite extremely difficult perhaps. So that was me for many years of my life. I smoked it, I guess, kind of happily for a few years, but spent more time trying to quit it. I spent years trying to quit it and it was extremely difficult. And so yeah, I want to help you guys save some time. And I mentioned in a few videos how basically, so addiction is a pattern, and to break this pattern, it's so important to become as aware of this pattern as possible, to understand how it works. It's important to bring the unconscious into the conscious. So yeah, so the more we do this, the more we get to know our pattern, how we're working, essentially how it's working with us. The more we get to know it and experience it, the more we can have control over it, rather than kind of running on a cycle, potentially like a robot. We can then, the more, if we become aware of this pattern, how it works beforehand, when we're about to be running on this pattern again, rather than just follow it, we can catch it, we can notice it, and then do something else, make a different decision, rather than the same decision over and over again. So I mentioned how journaling, writing, has been hugely valuable for me to just see what's going on, kind of like a self-study, like a scientist. Like I'm a scientist studying myself, like a detective. You want to be your own detective. It's like a mystery, like why am I why is this difficult, why am I experiencing this lack of control? Not why is it in like an accusing, I'm doing this wrong kind of way, but like a curious. Gabor Mate calls it compassionate curiosity. That's the attitude we want for this. Become curious. So I'll tell you something about a realization I had. I remember it was a really big one for me in the moment, and if I hadn't written it down, I probably wouldn't remember it to this day. It was about a year and a half ago. I was living in Nicaragua at the time, Central America, nice and warm. And so the cycle was, okay, I'm gonna smoke today, and then no more tomorrow. I'm not gonna buy any more tomorrow. Then the next day would come, okay, that kind of itch, that craving, okay, just one more day, just one more bag. Finish that, okay, just one more, like that, for years, kind of, pretty much years, fuck. And so this kind of craving, this feeling, I want to get rid of this feeling, so okay, that's why I buy another bag and smoke, to get rid of this feeling, basically. And then I would smoke, and well, I would feel different. I would feel calm, less tense, less intense, just more relaxed in a sense. And maybe like a few hours into this weed smoking day or kind of thing, maybe like a few hours after I'd been smoking, maybe I was on my third joint or something. I can't remember exactly the details, but basically I was sitting, and I think I had my joint on the table next to me, and I got this sharp feeling, which is the feeling of craving, like I need a joint, this agitation. And that hit me hard, like a kind of light bulb went off in my mind. We could call it an aha moment, like aha, like found a big clue. And so this feeling that that would always get me to go to like get on the phone, order another bag, just to get rid of this kind of this tenseness, this feeling. I noticed really on a deep level, so obviously, that this feeling was still happening even while I was smoking weed, even hours after I was smoking weed, even after I was very stoned. but the purpose of me smoking weed for myself was to basically feel different, essentially, to change my physiology, change my feelings, essentially create some kind of relaxation. I've come to understand now it was actually kind of an illusion that I was more relaxed. in a sense the body was like that first joint, like the body is definitely more relaxed and the mind perhaps as well. But I've come to realize and experience that relaxation, and the opposite of relaxation, we could say stress. There's a few words, tenseness. That's caused by the mind. Stress is caused by the mind. If I'm unrelaxed, it's because of what my mind is doing. And if I'm smoking weed to kind of feel relaxed, well, my mind is still going to be doing its usual patterns. And so I'm still going to be feeling unrelaxed, which is why would just smoke more and more and more. And so really, so the way I've quit and what I've been doing after quitting to basically for long-term freedom essentially is, instead of reaching out for something to change how I'm feeling, to change the stress, instead work on my mind, because the stress is caused because of my mind, because of my focus, perceiving negativity, perceiving problems and getting stressed by them. It's basically a pattern of the mind and a pattern of the body, which I would use weed for. And I really perceived that weed was helping. But that one moment, I caught it that I was this burst of kind of impulse to smoke, which has always made me call the guy in the first place. I noticed that on a deep level, while being stoned, that oh shit, this does not go away. No, even if I'm really stoned, and if I've kind of not feeling my senses anymore, it kind of seems it's gone away, but it hasn't gone away, which is why I would keep smoking all the way to the night until I fall asleep essentially, and every day. So smoking weed, I've come to realize, that the reason I would smoke weed was because I was believing in illusions. I was believing illusions to be true. That's why I would smoke weed over and over again. I thought it was giving me something that it was not. It was a trick. It was a trick. I was falling for an illusion over and over and over again. It didn't do anything. I thought it was doing something for me, but it wasn't. And so in that moment, I wrote it down. I wrote down my realization. And writing it down is great, of course, because then you can read it back in the future. But most of the time, when I write stuff down in my journaling, I don't really read it back so much. I rarely read what I've written back, at least not regularly. But the very act of writing it down, it basically, we learn it on a far deeper level. Just writing it, we learn it, kind of solidify it. Just the act of writing is powerful for learning. So I encourage you to do that. And I'll leave this video here. As always, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.